Now, this is a bit of a weird one. I've been watching this on eBay for quite a while, and I was curious about it. And they very kindly lowered the price fractionally, which of course triggered that thing in my brain which said, it is cheaper now, other people may wish to buy it, therefore you must buy it before they do. And so here we are, looking at the Wesco FM auto scan radio, Star Trek Insurrection, USS Enterprise NCC-1701-E, United Federation of Planets. I rather like the box artwork. I think that's really nice. The box itself is a little bit banged up, but I really quite like the way that they've done their sort of overall layout. The fact that it's got sort of warp speed indicator kind of streaming off the back of it suggests to me they didn't just pinch a frame out of the films either. So maybe they had that rendered especially. I don't know, but it's got something, sort of the Federation symbol. It's got a sort of an LCARS style sort of bracket there. I like it. It feels like it's had some attention to detail. It's got impulse engines glow, so you know that's interesting. But yes, it's a radio. But I'm hoping that when we have a look at this, the actual model itself is going to be rather impressive, because this is an Enterprise E that is also a radio. That's what I gathered. Anyway, so we will find this out together, because I have yet to look at this. But looks like I need to flip the box. So I'm curious to see what level of detail, if any, we've actually got on the box about sort of life, the universe, and everything, so to speak. So let me just bring the light back. It was shining a lot off the front, but hopefully it'll just be of use now. This radio is a functional item. It is not suitable or intended as a child's plaything. Ensure that it is positioned out of reach of small children. Fair enough. AAA batteries. Please wall mount hanger from plastic bag. Interesting. So definitely a European release. It's got German information on this side. I'd rather assumed it was going to be a British release, but an American release rather, but it isn't. It's British. So made in China for Wesco Limited, I think it means. Cameron House, Hague Road, Knutsford, Cheshire. Interesting. Copyright 1999. I don't know if you can hear that. I've got a very strange noise going on in the background here, and I don't know where it's coming from. How very bizarre. I had forgotten to mute Ed's live stream from this evening, which was echoing down my staircase. Okay, so we've established now then this was made in 1999 for a British company, but by a Chinese production house, clearly. Okay, so there isn't a huge amount of more sort of detail actually on the back here. It's not telling us anything about the Enterprise. It's purely English and German sort of market information. So I think it's probably time for me to dig this out and have a look at it. So I'm already rather impressed by this. The coloration you can see is just the sort of plastic box it's been sort of enclosed in. But this is a good 18 inches long, the actual ship itself, just the ship. And it's got a full-on stand with an insignia on it and everything else. And this is 1999. This is what's intriguing me. So I just had a quick look, and it's not the same as the Playmates mold. Because I was thinking, what would they have as a reference? You know, if this company had managed to borrow another company's mold, whose mold would they be using? This is only 1999. This is way before Art Asylum and Diamond Select were doing the Enterprise E. They didn't come to it until much later in their collections. And Playmates did it as one of their sort of final items that they issued. But I've just, as I say, I've got it in the bag here. It's not fully made up. But as you can see, this is not, it's not the same mould at all. I mean, obviously it couldn't be because of some of the radio functionality, but the stickers and everything else are very, very different. The Playmates version has sort of raised escape pods. This doesn't. This is just using stickers, but it does have an indication that there are in fact escape pods there. And this is why I kind of hoped it was one of those auctions where I had no idea about the product at all. But I looked at it and I thought, do you know what? That looks like a really good Enterprise E model representation. And I was genuinely curious because I thought, how on earth has somebody done this well for something that is just a radio? Why would you go to that much effort? We've got a great big chunky stand here, which is a great stand. I mean, it's probably not variable geometry as stands go, but it's a stonking big stand. Which actually, interestingly, goes on this way round. On, again, a nice plinth, which has a very nice sort of next generation style communicator badge symbol on it for the Federation sort of insignia. So again, I like that bit of detail. So let's have a look at this. So this is really cool. This is really cool. And this, I know it's not technically speaking apparently a plaything, but nonetheless, that's a great level of detail. USS Enterprise NCC-1701-E. Don't know if they've quite got the font right. But what I'm liking about this, which you'll have heard me say in other videos, is this level of sort of detail around the nacelles and everything else. That's a really nice, accurate nacelle configuration, even compared with the Playmates one, which got that little bit better than it did with the first contact version. So this is actually saying, so it's saying that Wesco, copyright 1998 Paramount Pictures, 1998 made in China. Okay. Obviously a speaker grill down the bottom there for the radio section. But I'm just hunting for any sort of sign that any other manufacturers that I'm familiar with were involved with this. Because sometimes you'll see a sort of, a little sort of hint that perhaps this actually came from someone else's stable, so to speak. But, the only people I know of at the time who were making Star Trek ships were Playmates. And this is not one of theirs. This does not strike me as being one of theirs. I mean, it could be an adapted version of one of theirs, I don't know. I'm just going to have a look at the underside of the... Oh, it's just so much plainer. It's so... What's really puzzling my brain is that I feel like I'm looking at a Diamond Select toy model, and yet it's just far too early. But the way it's painted and detailed, I'm actually fascinated, and I would love to hear in the comments if you know what the origins of this one were, because it's a really, really good likeness of the E. If that had arrived in a Diamond Select box, I would have been completely happy with that as a Diamond Select. I'm genuinely fascinated as to how this has come into being. Let me get rid of this. We don't really need this, I don't think, for our purposes here. So I'm just fascinated, as I say, by the sheer sort of quality of this for something that is just a radio. Ultimately, I've no idea if it works. I don't know if it particularly matters that it works, because that isn't really why I'm looking at it. But actually, what I will do is I will just go and find some batteries for it, simply because I am interested to see what the lighting is like on it, because again, you know, yes, Playmates did a little bit of lighting. I think that part of the reason this is sort of puzzling me is because I most recently looked at a Playmate ship from 10 years later, strangely. So of course I'm thinking in more modern terms just at the moment. But I think this is really, really good. And I wasn't quite sure the scale of it, I don't think, when I bought it from the auction. But again, the scale is exactly on a par with all of the larger models that I've looked at from Playmates and Diamond Select. It's like, why would you bother making it so big when it's just a radio? So I'm going to find some batteries and let's see if it works. Well, to my mild bemusement, it is indeed working. Although I'm not sure whether I'll just keep talking over the top of it. We can just about make out that it's as good as its word. The impulse engines do in fact light up. Nothing else does that I can see. There's no sign of life from the nacelles, but the impulse engines are definitely active. So, and apparently you can still pick up FM radio in this country, so there you go. Yeah, so yeah, it works, and it's got a teeny tiny little bit of lighting, which I guess is just kind of very generic, you know, any sort of electronic lighting would do, sort of, but that's fine, that gets the job done. So it qualifies as both a radio and a decent model of a starship, which is unusual. And you know, had it not been this sort of size, I really wouldn't have gone for this, because I'm not trying to get sort of random bits of merchandise, but I do feel I should try it on its stand, however, just to see what it looks like. I mean, it's such a shame they put this enormous knob on the top of the blinking sort of primary hole for the volume control. Could they not have just done something a little bit subtler just to maintain the illusion a little bit there? That's like the one negative thing I can think to say of it, really, because for what it is, you really can't argue with this sort of level of detail. I feel, you know, you'd be churlish if you did, because it's got no right looking as good as it does for just being a radio. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm supposed to. Okay, all right, that's okay. I've got it. So again, it sits rather better than I might have reasonably expected it to. That's quite a sort of a nice angle to have it displayed at. I remain incredibly surprised by why it's this good. Why is it this good? I mean, we've got tiny little sort of USS Enterprise United Federation of Planets sticker down the side there. Enterprise 1701-E correct on the ends there. I can only assume that whoever they sent this to get made in China, or really sort of liked Star Trek and wanted to do a good job, and therefore did a good job. Even sort of the whole coloration. I mean, yes, there's a lot of use of stickers, but there's this very sort of subtle coloration to it, which as soon as I get it out of the box, I really like the look of. And I hope you can make it out. But there's this nice sort of pale blue colour all the way around here. And yes, you know, if I were to nitpick, maybe in Insurrection, it wasn't quite that bright. It was more the sort of the dark grey ablative armour kind of look. But I don't dislike it at all. And as I say, I just remain sort of really puzzled as to why we've got this rather beautiful, I'm going to use the word beautiful, model of the Enterprise E that's only a radio. It's like, why? Why has somebody gone to this much trouble just to create a radio of all things? It's like really odd. But I do rather love it, actually, strangely. It's just got a real presence, and I like the way it's been coloured. I mean, yes, you know, these stickers look a little bit childish, if I'm honest, and they don't quite match the whole colour either, which is rather unfortunate. But you know, you can forgive them for that, because I bet they had zero budget to work with, and yet they must have had the CGI designs or something to work off. because they've got a lot of, there's a lot of all the sort of window detailing along here it looks really good. The impulse engines are in the right place. The nacelles look good. You really can't knock it for whatever, however much it might have been at the time when it came out. I find it very hard to criticize. I really do. I really find that very, very hard to criticize. So I would love to know if you picked this up at the time, somewhat 20 odd years ago now, and and if you did that off the back of how it looked, because it would make perfect sense to me that you did, because I think it's really, really good for what it is. Even though it's just a radio, it's just like knocked it out of the park as far as I'm concerned. I was not expecting to be this enthusiastic about it at all, but yeah, I think it's great. Definitely right up there with Diamond Select, I think, if I'm perfectly honest. It's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit flimsier, yes. But I really do feel like it's almost like it was a Diamond Select prototype. I know that's quite random, that's a massive sort of supposition on my part, but I'd love to know who worked on it. I'd love to know sort of why it came out this good, because it does look good. And the packaging is really good as well. I like the packaging. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. It's a slightly random one, I know. A little bit out of left field, and I suppose this is the sort of thing that you tend to start getting when you are getting towards having an example of everything else that that is mainstream. But nevertheless, I'm not regretting picking it up at all. So there you go. All right, that's it for this one. Cheers for now.